Hello and welcome to part A with me. In this part, we're going to talk about the immigration boom and Anglo conformity. First, we want to figure out what is meant by immigration boom. And after that, what is Anglo conformity? At first, people tend more to immigrate to US rather than Canada. But after a while, they get attracted to immigrating to Canada as well. And British people formed the largest group of immigrants. It was in early 1900 and there were a large scale of immigration happening. So that's why we call it immigration boom. And at that moment, 3 million people immigrated to Canada while about 15 million went to USA. A large amount of people. So that's the reason we call it immigration boom. One of the problems that these immigrants need to deal with was Anglo conformity. Anglo conformity means that if you're immigrating to Canada, you need to become Canadian to get accepted by the society, and you need to assimilate, or otherwise you must get excluded. And it was the same for USA. You needed to become American to get accepted, or otherwise you must get excluded. Now, question is that at that time, how did the immigrant determine if they want to move to Canada or United States of America? Here's the answer. At that moment, Canada needed agricultural workforce and farmers to settle the Westlands. And others could do some other jobs like working in mines, railways, and other difficult jobs. And where did they settle down? They were concentrating in rural areas. It was totally different in America. America was planning to expand its industries, so it needed industrial workforce. And where did they concentrate it? They were mostly living in large urban centers. Now we want to get familiar with Anglo-Saxons, and you'll figure out the reason later. Who were Anglo-Saxons? The Anglo-Saxons were a cultural group who inhabited England from 5th century, and their descendants, indigenous British group, adopted many aspects of Anglo-Saxons culture and language. That means it meant a lot for them to save this culture and their language. Now, why did we talk about Anglo-Saxons? Because Anglo-Saxon culture was affecting the life of some immigrants. Some of British intellectuals were considering immigrants from Asia, Central and Southern Europe a threat for Anglo-Saxon culture. But why should they feel like they were a threat? Because they thought that these people were illiterate and they were inexperienced with free institution. That's why they couldn't get assimilated and they must get excluded, and they were considered as a threat. In between, there were people who didn't want to assimilate. So, where was the best destination for them to move to? Quebec. But why? Because at that moment, Franco-conformity, which means getting assimilated to French community, was not promoted. So most of the Jews moved to Quebec where they did not need to get assimilated and no one wanted them to assimilate.